Hello and welcome to another installment of Lessons Learned. I am Aisha Francis, the President and CEO of Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology. So happy to be here with a recent alum, Kervens Jean Philippe, who we're going to have a conversation with. But just as a reminder, this is a session for friends, alumni, and partners of Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology to share a bit about their experiences at the college and what has led them to be close to us. So we'll dive right in. And Kervens, it's so wonderful to have met you and have had some time to speak with you a bit earlier, but I'd love people to know a bit about you. So if you would just share with us who you are, however you'd like to take that question, and kind of what drew you to Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology.
Okay, to start, my name is Kervens Jean Philippe. I was born in Haiti. I came to the United States when I was about 9 years old. And went to school in Milton High. That's where I graduated from high school. And I heard about BFIT from my mentor. I was trying to decide what I should do after high school. And I was looking at different schools. I went to UMass Boston for a little bit. But I wanted to go to a school that allows me to, work with my hands and, still be involved in the automotive industry. And my mentor recommended that I attend Benjamin Franklin. I was actually looking at all the other trade school in Boston, but when he mentioned Benjamin Franklin, I looked into it. And the cool thing about BFIT was that out of all the school that I was looking at, it offered a bachelor's degree in automotive management. And I wanted to get my bachelor's while working in the automotive industry, because I felt like a bachelor's degree in the automotive field is something that's so rare. I wanted to, be set apart, especially in reference to, applying for jobs and all that stuff. So that's what drew me to BFIT, the fact that it had a bachelor's degree in automotive management. So I applied and then, did my degree, and now we are here.
Excellent. And you are your class of 2019, correct?
That's correct.
So tell me what you've been doing for the past 2 years.
So while I was attending Benjamin Franklin, I was working at a private repair facility. The owner is my dad, Bernardo's Professional Auto Repair in Brockton.
Wonderful.
And after graduation, right away, I started working at a assistant service manager at Toyota, Expressway Toyota, right in Boston, Dorchester area. First service advising job. The experience was great. I had some great leaders at Toyota, but I still wanted to further my career and be promoted. So there was an opportunity at a luxury dealership, which was BMW of Sudbury. I applied to that, and again, by the grace of God, I received the position. I was there for a little bit, for 6 months. During that time, learned a lot about luxury customer service, what it means to have a client, and dealing with their vehicle, people that are, that are really particular about their vehicle, and things like that. So that was really, really, really nice, because the level of luxury service, it's something that is like, I don't even have words to explain it.
You have to experience it yourself.
Exactly. And everything is, you have to be really attentive to everything that you're doing, every little note, something as small as, I don't want a front license plate in front of my vehicle. You have to keep all these things in mind, because, these vehicles are expensive and their owners are particular about them, rightly so. I mean, understandable. And, so I learned a lot about that, what it means
to
care.
Kervens, can you tell me, building on that experience, how have you been able to draw on your education, on what you learned during your 4 years at Benjamin Franklin Institute to help sort of support the professional goals that you had in those two experiences, and then circle back to what you're doing now. But I'm just curious about, you know, what that connection has been like.
Of course, there's, I don't even know where to start. I mean, I would say one of the greatest thing that the greatest, I would say one of the things I'm most proud of in my career is while attending Benjamin Franklin and working on my dad's shop. The name of the shop was Bernardo's Auto Repair, but I was in this course with Mr. Golden, where we talked about, running a private facility and what it means. And one of the things we talked about is having a business name that set you apart. And through that course, I was able to influence my dad to change the business name from Bernardo's Auto Repair to Bernardo's Professional Auto Repair. So that one single word, what it did is that it held us higher standard of service, right? And, our customers seeing that this is a professional auto repair facility also let them know that, okay, these people are going to care for my vehicle. And that also showed them the level of service that we were going to provide, which, helped the business. I think, whether it's working at Toyota or BMW, or even now at a Optimus ride in the seaport, I think that's my greatest accomplishment, to take something that I learned from my school and to implement it in my father's business. So that's the highlight of my
career. That's wonderful.
That's the highlight of my career right there. And even, working at BMW or Toyota, a lot of the principles that I've learned, whether it was Mr. Golden or Mr. Dellett, these were professors that influenced me greatly. And a lot of the things that, I learned in the class, I just tried my best to apply it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's a wonderful story. I'm sure your father and your family is so proud of what you've accomplished. So you alluded to your new role at Optimus Ride, which is an autonomous vehicle company located in the Seaport. Tell me a bit about the role that you have and what drew you to this position.
Okay, that's a great question. That's why I'm smiling. So, like I said, I was working at, Toyota and BMW, but I always wanted more. I wanted to be involved in the technology that's related to the automotive industry. So while I was at BMW, I applied to this position. It's great to work at a dealership. It's great to do sales and service, but I wanted to be on the back end, bringing new technology forward. So I applied to this position at Optimus Ride. So they are a startup in Boston that focus on autonomous shuttle and geographic mapping. So I applied, and they are opening a new department, which is fleet and facilities, because they are growing so much. I'm actually the first technical associate under the fleet and facilities department. And my
Congratulations, you're a trailblazer.
Thank you so much. And my role as the fleet and facilities technical associate is to upkeep the vehicle, be in charge of transporting the vehicle, getting them ready for transport. If there's an issue of the vehicle, to be the first one to look into it and write a report. Just pretty much upkeep of anything fleet related in the seaport, which is the hub of the company, is what my position entails.
Okay, that's exciting. That's exciting. And how have you found the transition from the dealership life to a startup? What's that been like?
I am so grateful for dealership experience, because dealership experience is fast-paced. It's fast-paced. Everything is on the go, making decision on the spot. And to come to a startup, they move slightly at a slower pace. So coming from an industry that's fast-paced, everything is like this. You make the decision in the moment, on the second, and you have to make the right decision. It's so great to have a little bit more time to make decisions. So the transition is pretty great. And also my automotive background allows me to understand things a whole lot better. Surprisingly, these cars are more simple than our standard passenger vehicle. There's more software and more technology involved in getting them to run. But in terms of hardware and, braking system and system that get the vehicle going, it's actually pretty simple in comparison to what I'm used to. So the transition is great. I love it.
So you just said so many things that I find fascinating. One, this concept that you found the dealership environment to actually be faster paced than the startup is absolutely amazing. And I think counterintuitive, because many folks would think that the startup life is more challenging from the perspective of pace. So I love that learning. And then you just described what I'm going to call a computer on wheels, perhaps, in terms of what autonomous vehicles are like, and the comparison between those and the ICE and the other vehicles that you've been working on. So are these vehicles on the road right now? Or are they being tested only in controlled environments?
So right now, we have a location in Brooklyn that is, they are running shuttles.
Okay.
Pre-COVID, we had other locations, but COVID put a stop to certain plans that the company had. But the main place where we do the majority of the testing is in the seaport, and it is in a controlled area.
Right. Okay. So a little bit longer before we're likely to see one on the road, but it's something that's coming.
However, they are coming, and it's coming pretty soon.
Okay. All right. Well, I am really grateful for the time that you spent here with me in conversation. And I think as a parting question, I'd love to ask if there's anything that you would suggest or any advice you'd give to a future student at Benjamin Franklin Institute of Technology, that be they a prospective automotive technology student or not, but one thing that you would say to someone who is considering whether or not to pursue college or perhaps stay in the job market.
To be quite honest with you, I would say to any student that is pursuing a degree at Benjamin Franklin, if you are able to get your bachelor's, because in the job market that we are in, a bachelor's is a requirement. That's the first thing. Like the majority of the jobs that I've applied for, if you're trying to build a career, you need a bachelor's. That's the first thing I would recommend. Granted, you may not need a bachelor's to work, at a dealership as a technician. A 2-year degree is fine, and it's more than enough. But in terms of what I was looking for, I knew the necessity of a bachelor's. And unless you plan on running or opening your own business, I highly recommend getting a bachelor's. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to recommend and say is that keep your head down and keep going. It took me 6 years to get my bachelor's, but by the grace of God, I still was able to, finish. It wasn't easy. I know sometimes we don't all finish in 4 years, but at the end of the day, as long as you're pursuing education, whether it's an associate or bachelor's or whatever else that it may be, just keep going. Because, the last person that graduated from, doctor school is still called a doctor. So at the end of the day, just make sure that you have that piece of paper, because in the world that we live in, you need a degree to function. To get a decent paying job, you need a degree. Unless you go into sales, which is just fine. But I highly recommend getting a bachelor's degree, honestly.
Well, those are wonderful words of wisdom, and I'm so glad that you've shared them. And it's good for people to know that we are a college that has range. So we offer certificates, 2-year degrees, and bachelor's degrees, and people can build the career that they need and the path that they need if they start at one place and want to add on. It's something that we offer and encourage. And I'm so glad to hear that you persevered and that you shared that 6 years was worth the investment of your time. It's
yes, it was.
where you start, it's where you finish, and you're not finished, but you are in a wonderful place, and you've been able to make some terrific career choices. So kudos to you, Kervens. And again, we're so proud of you as an alum representing the college in the startup world. Please continue to spread the good word about the education you received, and we'll continue to uplift you and other wonderful alum like yourself.
Just one last thing, I just want to say, take this opportunity to say thank you to all my teachers. They taught me a lot, like Mr. Golden, Delit, who was also my advisor, and all the other teachers that I had, even professors that were not in my degree, but I took a public communication course at BFIT for professional representation, and that helped me a whole lot. So I'm just grateful for every professor that played a role in, allowing me to get my degree and supporting me to be to the place that I'm here right now.
Oh, thank you. We'll make sure that message gets to Professors Golden and Delit. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too.